everybody. Lord Tremendous here. Got another battle report here for you. 2,000-point battle. Two Kings versus Wood Elves. Not my normal Wood Elf opponent. This is Team for Dwarfman. This is a good game. This is a tournament prep game. So we went after each other like we owed each other money, which actually might be true. Not 100% at the moment. But really, really fun game. And it's a close one. It's a nail biter. So sit back, relax, and get ready to see the carnage. Here's my list, and there really hasn't been a whole lot of change. I'm still playing my Tomb Kings, the Mortuary Priests, or Cults, or whatever, the Cult of Tremendous, because yeah, I'm still a narcissist. But I actually only have 877 points in characters. The last game, I reported that total wrong. I apologize. I noticed it after it was already uploaded. So minor thing, but whatever. My High Priest, Idameta Gacy, is 430 points. He's my general. He's on a Bone Dragon. He's a level 3 wizard with Illusion, Lore Familiar, Talisman of Protection, and the Flail of Skulls. Then I have another High Priest, Bernice. She's 277 points on the Skeletal Steed, level 4 wizard with Necromancy. She's got the Warding Splint, Enkill's Canopy, we're going to say it that way, and the Ruby Ring of Ruin. Last but not least is my Mortuary Priest Baby Mage at 170 points. He's my BSB with the Banner of Desert Wind, because Reserve Move is overpowered. Level 2 Wizard with Necromancy and the Amulet of the Serpent. A few small changes into my core. I've still got 2 Tomb Swarms. They're really just batteries, but you'll see. And then I've upped it to 36 Skeleton Archers with full command, warbows, and light armor. And then I have 7 Skeleton Horse Archers. I lowered it because 10 was kind of unwieldy. 7 is plenty. They're really just a screen for Bernice. There's a Master of Horse, which was how it was supposed to be. I don't know why there was a standard before. I screwed that up. But a unit champion, just in case, to kind of, soak up a challenge, or I'm sorry, wounds from a character in a challenge. And then, of course, I gave them light armor because I want them to stick around. And then, of course, I have the real stars of the show, a brick of 6 Ushapti, 1 Ancient, and with great bows. And then in special, I have my 3 Tomb Scorpions with Ambushers and Terrors below because I love them, and another unit of 4 Ushapti with great bows. No Ancient in them, I didn't have the points. Here's my opponent's list, and I played against the Wood Elves for this one, against the buddy Team for Dwarfman. This is some tournament prep for him, so yeah, we were going at each other. No mercy was offered, and no mercy was given. He has 740 points in characters in total, starting with his Glade Lord Hedge Cutter at 332 points. He's his general, with he's on a Great Stag with light armor, shield, the Ogre Blade, Relarian's Mantle, and an Annoyance of Netlings and a Befuddlement of Mischiefs. The typical kit out for Wood Elves. The Ogre Blade is, pretty common, but the Mantle is cool. The 4-up ward against all wounds if you're within 6 inches of a forest. That's kind of neat. I like that. Then he's got his Spellweaver, who was on an Elven Steed, was a level 4 wizard with battle magic, had the Oaken Staff, and that was really all she needed. And then a second caster anyway, a Spell Singer, who was just a level 2 wizard with battle magic, on an Elven Steed with a Deepwood Sphere. He's got 564 points in core, starting with 3 units of 8 Glade Guard at 104 points each, with Hagbane tips and the usual trimmings, and then 2 units of 6 Glade Riders with Reserve Move, Calf Spears, and Hagbane tips. Finishing up his army is 692 points in special, 5 Sisters of the Thorn at 140 points with full command and Blackbriar Javelins, 6 War Dancers with a Blade Singer and a Musician with additional hand weapons, 5 Wild Riders with hunting spears, light armor, and shields, and 20 Wildwood Rangers, the real threat in this army, at 298 points with full command, light armor, and the Ranger's Glaives. Spells for this one, Idameta Gacy took Glittering Rose, Spectral Doppelganger, and the Mirage. Bernice got Incantation of Desert Wind, Unquiet Spirits, Spirit Leech, and Curse of Years. And Baby Mage got Incantation of Cursed Blades and Spirit Leech. So a pretty good smattering of spells. My opponent took Fireball for his sisters, got Oaken Shield and Tree Singing for his singer, and then Fireball, Pillar of Flame, Arcane Urgency, and Forest Walk for his weaver. Here's deployment, and honestly, with the Wood Elves, I figured actually he'd put a lot more on my left flank, considering where he put his extra woods. But no, he actually stacked up on my right flank, which was surprising. But yeah, my idea was to have Bernice and her archer unit deal with the War Dancers and the Glade Guard on my left flank. That's why she's over there. I was going to use the woods to my advantage, go through them and use them for cover, and hopefully resurrect any wounds that his Glade Guard were able to do to her and her screen. My archers are on the hill right there because I wasn't sure exactly where he was going to go. Figure worst comes worst, I can move them 8 inches across the table to get in a range, in the future turn. So wasn't too concerned about that. The big unit of Boshati are right there. Again, I wasn't sure where all of his stuff was going to be, so I figured having them in the center, they could move around. 30-inch threat range is pretty good, so I wasn't too worried there. The little unit of four are right behind the woods. Again, I was going to try to use the woods as some sort of cover in order to deal with any shooting that might be coming their way. And Itamidagasi, I deployed him over on the right flank to deal with all the stuff that was over there because honestly, even as Glade Lord, I wasn't too worried about it. If he can get into that combat with anything, he should be able to deal with them pretty well. The batteries are right behind the skeletons on the hill, and I've got three Tomb Scorpions in reserve waiting to pop out for ambush. I mean, yeah, our initiative checks really that big of a threat to infantry Wood Elves? No, but if I can charge in there with the Tomb Scorpions, they're definitely a threat. On my opponent's side, his our left flank, his right, he's got his Ward Dancers right behind the woods there with 2 units of Glade Guard right there, both units of 8. The third unit being behind the hill in the center there. His big brick of Wildwood Rangers are right next to the house. Behind them are the unit of Glade Riders with the Singer with that stupid sphere. Next to them are another unit of Glade Riders with that stupid Oaken Staff level 4 Weaver. He's got his Wild Riders in front with his sisters behind and his Glade Lord right in between them. So, yeah, it's a pretty solid deployment. Should be interesting to see what happens. Here's top of one after movement, and I actually got to go first. I know it was like cheating. I'm so not used to going first. So I did what any good undead player with a large shooting list would do, and I moved forward because, I needed to get in a range. I'm so not used to this. So yeah, Bernice and her screen move forward. They're probably not going to be in range of a whole lot, but if they can take some pot shots, they will. The archers on the hill move forward with the batteries falling right behind them because why not? My Ushapti move forward 5 inches that are right next to them to shoot at whatever target opportunity they can. I did notice that his Glade Riders, I could see them behind the Rangers, and I wanted to shoot at them. I wanted to force the panic check. I didn't think it was going to make them panic because they're, leadership elf. But if I could start wounding them, that would be great. And shoot, there's a chance I could kill 6 models, leaving the little spell singer or whatever all by herself. Because what's his face? As you can see, Inametegasi cast glittering robes, and because of the sphere, took a wound. So wasn't happy about that. And then the little four banger of Boshati moved up 4 inches because, woods, and they were going to shoot at the Wild Riders, trying to take out as many of them as I could. Itamitigasi moved forward just out of the charge range of the Wild Riders, but the hope was that he would come closer and I could either, jump past them and slam into his sisters, or if I was really lucky, his unit of Glade Riders with his Spellweaver inside of there. But yeah, that was it for my movement. In the shooting phase, my unit of four Boshati take pot shots at his Wild Riders, and I'm able to kill one. Not as good as I would have liked, but hey, you know what? They're down one, and that's what, 3 attacks, 4 attacks gone. I'll take that. And then my other unit of Boshati fire at the Glade Riders that could see, and I think I'm able to take out 3 of them, which is huge. It does force the panic check, but of course, they actually failed their panic check. He rolled an 11, and then he rolled like a 7. They were right at the board edge. They fled off the table. I couldn't believe it. I got rid of a unit of Glade Riders and a caster with that damn Deepwood Sphere in top of turn 1. That was huge, massive swing into my favor. I was very happy. My opponent, not so much, but I certainly was. That was an incredibly effective shooting phase, and then in the end, I did my reserve move with my archers, moving them forward another 4 inches or so because they really weren't in range to shoot anything this turn. I did forget to move the other archers, the horse archers, because Bernice couldn't follow, so they kind of stood right there. Maybe I should have moved them forward. There's no combat yet, so here's bottom of turn one after movement, and my opponent comes forward quite a bit actually. His Rangers fire through. He did get Arcane Urgency off on them, so that's why they're so far forward, which was really, really bad for me. It's like, oh crap. Was not happy to see them there, but it is what it is. His Wild Riders and his Glade Lord come firing towards Itamedagasi, which I'm okay with. I was going to jump over them and go into the sister since I'm a large target. He's not. I can see them easily, and they're the better prize, to be perfectly honest. Other than that, his Glade Riders with his level 4 just kind of move around the building a little bit to get some shots off. His Glade Riders in the center jump up on the hill to shoot at me, and everything else stays still. That's it for movement. In the shooting phase, he does something I wasn't expecting. My batteries are still on the hill. It wasn't like any tactical thought about it or anything like that. As you can see, I play with terrain flat, so I didn't even think about the hill being a hill when I left the batteries on top of there. So in order to try to stop my level 2 caster from being really effective, yeah, they started shooting at him, and the unit on the hill put 2 wounds on him. So I kind of puckered there. I was like, oh no, not the batteries, not like this. The other 2 units of archers fire at him and take all but 2 wounds off of him. He missed wiping my guys off the hill by 2 wounds. I got really lucky there. And then his Glade Riders take some pot shots at my guys in the woods and are able to get 2 wounds off of them. What else shooting is super dangerous. I don't care what anyone says. With the shooting done, here's top of turn 2 after movement. And yeah, on the right flank there, Itamedagasi was able to get glittering robes off without having to take any wounds because you know what? The sphere is off the table, and that feels right. He charged the sisters who stood and shot. They didn't hurt him, but I forgot to try to heal his wound, or I failed, one of the two. Either way, he's still carrying the wound, and he charges and makes it into the sisters, bouncing over the Wild Riders and the Glade Lord, no problem. In the center there, I it took me a second. I thought through it, and then I decided to charge the flank of his Wild Rider or his Wildwood Rangers. The idea was I had probably 6 to 9 attacks I was going to get off after he was done attacking me. I figured he needed threes and threes. I figured he'd hit 5 times, wound 3, and I should save 1, taking about 4 wounds. So I'd lose a guy, maybe 2, and I'd have 6 to 9 attacks back into his flank. He'd be disrupted. He wouldn't have his rank bonus. Maybe I could win this. Maybe I could hold him off in combat. I'm a stupid person. I don't know what to tell you. I'm just not a smart man at all. But that was my logic train. I did readjust my unit of 6 Ushapti just in case he charged me afterwards to try to make it so that if he killed him, they couldn't overrun into me. The archers stayed where they would because they were in range to shoot the guys on the hill. And Bernice and her screen, she does get Incantation of Desert Wind off, and Baby Mage gets Incantation of Cursed Blades, so that's really good. They move up a little bit more to start working on the Glade Guard, and as you can see, my Scorpions come onto the table to start doing some stuff as well. So yeah, busy turn, and that's it for movement. In the shooting phase, the big 6 by Boshati fire at the other unit of Glade Guard and smoke all but 2 of them. So yeah, the Spellweaver is now next turn. I could be shooting at her, which would be great. My big brick of archers fired at his smaller brick of archers on the hill. I think it was around either 19 to 24 shots, somewhere in there, and I killed all but 2. And those resilient bastards, well, you'll see about them in a little bit. But yeah, killed all but 2, and they made their break check no problem, as well as the Glade Riders after I shot them with the Boshati. So we go into combat with Itamedagasi and the sisters, and I try to cast Spectral Doppelganger because, of course, I do. His level 4 tries to stop it and ends up miscasting 4. That places the big old sexy pie plate right on her head, giving 2 partials onto the Glade Riders and 1 absolute hit onto her, which only results in her taking a wound. The 2 partials did not actually hit, but the 1 wound on her did get through, so that was kind of awesome. With the Weaver's interference out of the way, we go into combat, and as you can see, I end up obliterating the entire unit because Itameta is a beast. It did take me just a second to consider what I wanted to do. Did I want to try to restrain, turn and face? What was going on? But I wasn't quite ready to eat a Glade Lord with an Ogre Blade right in his face, especially with his Spellweaver right there, able to stop Spectral Doppelganger, because I didn't think I was going to get lucky enough to have him miscast twice in a row. So I ended up overrunning, and I get off the table, and Metagase will be back next turn. Combat over here. Like I said, I'm an idiot. I think I end up killing like two of his guys, maybe. India, he does like 6 wounds to me, on top of doing like another 4 in combat res because regens. Basically, he's got 12, I've got 4, and yeah, you know what happens when you lose combat when you're undead? You turn into dust, giving your opponent the opportunity to redress and reform as so. I'm a stupid, stupid man. That being said, here's bottom of 2 after movement. And yeah, everything that should happen does. His massive brick of basically unharmed rangers slam into my Boshati, and they're too close for me to even stand and shoot. So yeah, they're going to die with a whimper rather than a roar. That really sucks. His Glade Lord moves into the woods to threaten the rest of my army because he's a bully. The Wild Riders come around to look at the Scorpion, who's desperately trying to stay alive. His remaining Glade Riders and his bleeding Spellweaver come forward a little bit to get in range to cast some more spells. And his War Dancers move up because it's hit or miss time. He didn't want to get charged by the Scorpions, which I can respect. So yeah, he moved up and said basically either Bernice and her unit are going to kill them or he's going to kill them. Either way, it'll all be decided by the end of turn 3. And that's it for his movement. In the shooting phase, his Spellweaver is a real pain in the ass and fires a fireball off at my skeletal horse archers, killing all but one of them. Good shot. I didn't see that coming. I figured his archers were going to do it. Two little bastards on the hill finish off the unit because, they wanted revenge or something. I don't know. And then his other 2 units of archers fire at Bernice. They do like 4 wounds to her, but she's able to save all but one. I got really lucky. But my problem with this is nothing that my opponent did. It's my dumbass. I forgot to do my reserve move, not only for them, but for my archers. I should have moved them further forward, and Bernice and her archers should have moved back into the woods to negate a lot of those shots. In fact, the fireball wouldn't have even been in range had I remembered to reserve move. I was so mad at myself. Like, how did I forget to do this? I'm going to lose Bernice and her unit now because I'm stupid. Almost did. I got really lucky I rolled my saves, but unforgivable mistake. With that, we go into combat, and his rangers obliterate all but 2 of my Boshati. I take my 4 shots back, and I don't think I kill even one guy. Oh, such a stupid move on my part. The rest of the Boshati crumble due to combat res, the rangers overrun, and slam into my Scorpion. They're just erasing everything they run into. So that takes us over here to top of turn 3, and yeah, I'm scrambling a little bit. Bernice is able to get Curseers off on the War Dancers, which is huge. The archers turn to face the War Dancers. I know I'm not going to get the volley fire, but screw it. At least I'll get to shoot at them. 9 shots is better than no shots, and the War Dancers are a huge threat right now. The batteries, the swarms, they turn over to look over at the Rangers and stop them from being able to charge into my archers because I'm really worried about that. Itameta comes back on the table to threaten not only his Spellweaver but his Glade Lord and everything else because I need something to help me out. I just lost both my units of Ushapti, which are kind of the key the keystone of my entire army. On the top left flank there, my Scorpion did charge the flank of his archers who fled, which was really good because he would have made the charge otherwise. They bounce through that unit who passes their panic check, but they're away now, so that's something. The other Scorpion moves up his 7 as close as he can, and yeah, that's really it for movement. My archers, the 9 that can, shoot at his War Dancers and are able to kill 2. So not bad. They're still incredibly dangerous, but not bad. Oh, and then Bernice. God, I love Bernice. She casts Unquiet Spirits at the War Dancers and kills all 4 of them with it because she's a psychopath and I love her. Nothing else happens in shooting, so we go into combat, and the Rangers obliterate my poor Scorpion. He deserved better. They are able to restrain, and they turn to threaten my archers next round. I'm not looking forward to that. So we go into bottom of three, and it turns out that his rangers were just outside 11 inches from my archers, so he couldn't charge them, which was huge. So instead, he marches them straight forward and is basically in their rear. I'm in a lot of trouble. And again, I forgot to reserve move with my archers. They should be farther forward. There's no reason for them to be where they are right now. I keep forgetting that they have the Banner of Desert Wind. I chalk it up to inexperience with them because I'm used to playing Wars of Chaos, but I'm mad at myself for continuously forgetting these things. His Glade Lord and his Spellweaver move around. His Glade Lord did try to charge the flank of my archers and failed, which was really, really good. And he's able to rally the unit of archers that fled from the Scorpion. The other unit that did not flee moves forward because they want to shoot at Bernice in the woods, and his Wild Riders move up to threaten not only the batteries, but the rear of the archers as well. And that's it for movement. So in a previous turn, Bernice was able to heal her wound, but in the shooting phase here, the guys on the hill shoot at her and are able to slip that wound back onto her, which is not great. And then the unit that rallied was able to slip a wound through on one of the scorpions that is going to be charging next turn. At the end of the shooting phase, my opponent, probably reminded by my incredible amounts of whining that I keep forgetting, does his reserve move and moves his Glade Riders with his Weaver over just a little bit out of the woods so that Itamedagasi can't charge her next turn. There's no combat, so we go to top of four after movement, and I move the archers forward. I'm really, really planning on remembering my reserve move this time. So they're going to move forward a little bit so they can shoot at the archers, and then they're going to turn around at the end and just accept the charge from the Rangers because there's just no getting away from them. I thought about turning to face them, just get it out of the way, but I wanted to pull away from his Wild Riders a little bit more. My batteries go to intercept the Wild Riders. I figure they're going to get murdered by them because, I mean, they're Wild Riders running into a swarm. It's not going to go well, but I did want them to have the easy overrun into my archers afterwards. It's bad enough I'm probably going to have to deal with a Glade Lord and a huge unit of Rangers. So is what it is. I get Spirit Leech off of that on the Rangers. I thought it lasted longer just till the end of my turn. I was wrong, and again, very, very stupid. So it is what it is. My Scorpion did charge the unit of archers on the top there, but they fled and got away just barely, as you can see. They did bounce their unit, but they passed their panic check, and then Ita runs over into the forest to spit hot death onto the Glade Lord and to threaten everything that's over there because he needs to get into this fight really, really quick. And that's it for movement. In the shooting phase, the unit of archers fires at the archers that are fleeing. Only the front rank can fire because I moved, but I'm still able to kill, I think, 4 of them, which is incredibly good. And then Bernice, oh, magnificent, magnificent Bernice. She fires off her Unquiet Spirits and her Fireball into the Rangers and takes out the whole third rank. So 6 models. Is it enough to really make a difference? No, but 6 more are dead, and I feel really good about that. At the end of the shooting phase, miracle of miracles, I remember that I have reserve move thanks to the Banner of Desert Wind, and I turn to face the Rangers. I'm surprised I didn't give up a flank. Ugh. But at least I remembered. We've turned to face, and life is okay. With that done, here's bottom of 4 after movement, and oh, it's getting ugly. It's getting really, really ugly. Well, his archers rally up top there, and they turn to face my Scorpion. His Rangers make it into my archers, which is really, really bad. His Glade Lord moves over there, so he doesn't get blasted off the table by Bernice, but can threaten my archers some. His Wild Riders slam into my Swarm, so it's all over the crying there. And his Weaver with his Glade Riders move around the forest so that it can't charge them next turn, but they can fire off some stuff at him. Yeah, it's coming down to the wire here, but that's it for movement. His archers fire at my Scorpion and are able to put another wound on him. Not enough to kill him, but he's right there on the cusp. Nothing happens in the shooting phase, so we go into combat, and the swarms. So they weather 8 attacks from the riders and 4 from the mounts, and I only take 2 more wounds, 4 more wounds, whatever it is. I think it's 4 wounds. In return, mostly due to poison, they're able to kill 2 of the Wild Riders. I take he loses. I'm sorry, I lose by 2. but the BSB is within 12 inches. So the Indomitable kicks off, and I roll the 6. So they take they're Indomitable 3 right now. They take no extra wounds. I do give ground 2 inches. The Wild Riders pursue, and yeah, we're in combat right here. But it occurs to me the swarms might actually take out the Wild Riders, and that's insane. Combat here goes a lot worse. As you can see, he ends up with 13 combat res. I have about 5. I don't kill any of his stuff, but I have 2 ranks, banner, BSB, and I think I gave myself close order, which was a mistake. They don't have close order. The archers are open order. But yeah, that was insane to me, just how much damage they did. I, of course, lose combat. I give ground, and they pursue. So we're exactly where you see. Okay, here's top of 5 after movement, and we're going for broke. Yeah, Bernice moves up to try to fire off her spells. I couldn't get line of sight to her Glade Lord, unfortunately, but she moves up to use her fireball on the archers. The Scorpion charges and makes it into the unit that shot him last turn, so there's a really good chance I can kill them. Yeah, Itamidagasi moves over to basically use his breath weapon on his Weaver and the remaining riders. I know it'll probably be 3 partials, but I feel pretty confident about that because it is strength 3. I'll need 4s to wound, but if I can, it's AP 3 and it's multiple wounds too. There's a really good chance I could kill his caster here if I can just get my wound to go through. She doesn't have a save, so I'm hoping. Other than that, the other Scorpion moves up as far as he can, and that's it for movement. In the shooting phase, Itamidagasi fires off his breath weapon into him and is able to it's 1 solid hit on the caster and 2 partials. 1 partial gets through and kills the Glade Rider. The other one hits and wounds his Spell Weaver, and it gets through. It's multiple wounds too. She's got a total of 3. She was carrying 1 from the miscast. She dies. Oh, that felt right. Breath of Desiccation is a hell of a breath weapon. I've got to use this more often. Oh, and Bernice. God love you, Bernice. Uses the Ruby Ring of Ruin on those 5 archers that rallied and just torches all of them. Is able to wound and kill all 5 of them with a fireball. Best piece of jewelry in the game. With that being over, and yes, I did forget to do my reserve move again. Don't ask, I'm stupid. We go into combat, and the Tomb Scorpion is able to kill 2 of the archers. He takes no wounds for his trouble. I win this combat, and they just end up giving ground, and we end up right where you see. And this combat, things continue to go really, really bad. I believe Bernice was able to res maybe 7 of the archers. I'm not making any of my regen saves at all. I don't get an armor save. It's just a 6-up. He ends up getting 12 combat res to my 4. He wins by 8. We end up, losing what you're seeing there, and I give ground 2 inches. He pursues, and we end up right where you see. So, not ideal at all. What is ideal and slightly mind-blowing is the fact that my opponent did 6 wounds to the Scarabs. The Scarab, the 1 remaining brick left, had 5 attacks. I'm able to slip 2 wounds through, murdering the Wild Riders and winning the combat. That's right, you saw it here first. A unit of Scarabs was able to kill a unit of 4 Wild Riders whose charge they absorbed. Maybe I need a horde brick of swarms. Maybe I'm doing this wrong. And I know it's irrelevant because he's a swarm and all that, and he's skirmisher, but the triumphant bastard restrains and turns to face the rest of the fight because the 5 or so bugs that are left are bloodthirsty now. All right. With that high note, here's bottom of turn 5, where the Wood Elves are going to get their high note. So as you can see, I forgot to reserve move with Bernie. She did have Incantation of Desert Wind off, but yeah, I completely forgot to use it again. So see how this is going? His Glade Lord charge into the archers. His Rangers were already in there. This is not good. The Glade Rider that's over by Itamidagasi just kind of stays right where they're at because it doesn't matter anymore. The 2 archers on the hill are going to move forward to try to finish off my swarm, and that's really it for movement. Not a whole lot of live stuff left on the table. We pretty much go straight into combat because nothing happens in shooting, and in the end, I'm able to kill all but 3 of the remaining Glade Guard in this unit, which is pretty good. I take no wounds for my struggle. They break, I pursue. I mean, they fall back in good order. I pursue. They bounce through that unit. They don't have to worry about panic because it's only 3. I pursue, and I end up in the flank of the unit on the hill. So maybe with a little luck, I can finish them off, and that would be fantastic. In combat over here, Baby Mage is killed, and all but 4 of the archers are killed. As you can see, he wins by 7. That's when I stop counting. The rest turn to dust. His Glade Lord tries to restrain and can't, and ends up overrunning pretty far. And then his Rangers overrun and slam into Bernice because I'm a complete moron. I'm sorry, Bernice. You didn't deserve this. This is all my fault. Oh man, so here's top of 6 after movement, and I really don't have any moves left. The Scorpion that's in combat is in combat. The other one's too far away to actually do anything, so he just kind of moves forward. I think I'm far enough away from his Glade Lord, but well, you'll see in a minute. The Swarm moves behind the hill to just try to conserve his points, and Itametigasi focuses on the one remaining Glade Rider, hoping to breathe hot death onto him and secure those points. But that's really it for my movement. In the shooting phase, Itametigasi, Badonk anyway, he is able to use his breath weapon on the one remaining Glade Guard. It's a partial, but it does hit, it wounds, and they die. So points secured and another elf dead. Both solids, both positives. I don't know what all the screaming and crying's about. With that, we go into combat, and the Tomb Scorpion is able to obliterate the 2 little guys that were on the hill, which is too bad. They were really champions. And yeah, he's eyeballing those 3, who he overruns into no problem at all. So hopefully I can perform the hat trick of murder with this Tomb Scorpion and the Glade Guard. In combat over here, Bernice actually doesn't take any wounds, but she takes some wounds, but she's able to regen save them. She doesn't get an armor and her ward save fail, but she was able to regen save, which is pretty good. She kills 1 of the Rangers, but due to combat res, as you can see, I lose by at least 4, which is plenty. She's only Indomitable 1. She only has 3 wounds. I think she only had 2 at the time. So yeah, she crumbles to dust, and that sucks. That should never have happened. This is 100% on me, and I'm not pleased with me right now. Thrilled with the fact that they basically walked through my entire army. I helped. They go for a victory jog and end up right there with the overrun. I think they failed their restraint test, if I'm being honest. Combat's over, so here's bottom of 6, end of the turn, end of the game, and the only thing that really happens is his Glade Lord does charge my Scorpion and makes it literally exactly what he needed to make it, which sucks. We go straight into the combat phase because there is no shooting or magic or anything like that. And yeah, he's able to obliterate the Tomb Scorpion. It wasn't even close. Not that that's a surprise. In combat over here, the Tomb Scorpion flubs a little bit and is only able to kill 1 more Glade Guard, which kind of sucks. I was hoping to vape the unit. I mean, they do fail, or they do lose combat. They don't fail their break check. They end up just giving ground. And out of respect, I restrained. So yeah, that's where it ends up. In the end, it was a defeat for Lord Tremendous. I ended up getting 1338 out of him, and he got 1519 out of me. Super close, but yeah, he actually beat me and hurt my feelings a little bit. Hurt my feelings because so many mistakes. But in the end, it was a really, really good game. And I can't complain. This was a hard fought loss, and my opponent deserved this victory. So I'm excited about the recap. Let's get right to it. Oh man, this was a fantastic game. Really, really close, down to the wire. I made a lot of mistakes. I'll grant you that. But oh man, for an opponent who hasn't played in probably a month, he was fantastic. Really enjoyed this game. The fact that the Swarms took out his Wild Riders, yeah, I know, it happened later in the game, but I just want to talk about that. My batteries, the unit that I take to power my level 2 spells, and sometimes my other casters if they're around, the fact that they took the charge from the Wild Riders and then eventually killed them all is... I got to relook at Swarms, Maybe I'm taking a horde of archers. I should be taking a horde of Swarms. That was awesome. The Rangers, the Wildwood Rangers, they're so dangerous for my army. And yeah, I don't know why I charged them. I should have just shot, but oh, wow, are they dangerous. I made so many mistakes in this game. I have to remember to do my reserve moves. I'm sorry, Bernice. If you're listening, I know we're putting it back together with the parts that we salvaged from this one, but man, so many mistakes. Forgetting to do things, forgetting reserve moves, leaving Bernice where she can easily be overran into, which is exactly what happened. I made a ton of mistakes, but I'm going to chalk that up to being used to playing Warriors of Chaos. I'm still adapting to Tomb Kings. It shouldn't take much longer. Hopefully I can get my head out of my butt and actually start playing well. But either way, every mistake that I made, my opponent recognized and capitalized on, which is exactly what he should have done. So just one more reason this was such a great game. The Boshati were awesome. Yet again, I love that unit. Both of them. Getting his Spell Singer with that Deepwood Sphere off the table turn 1 with the panic check was huge. I did not expect it. I did expect to force the panic check, but I figured it was going to be a couple of rounds before I was able to shoot her off the table. She was definitely a priority. I hate that sphere. It's a great item. Any Wood Elf that is playing, or anybody who's playing a Wood Elf army, should definitely take it because it's just so dangerous to casters. If you're near woods and you get a spell off, sure, yeah, you got Glittering Robes off, and you just took D3 wounds. Chances are you've only got a 5-up save at best. So taking out casters from anywhere on the table with a little level 2 carrying around the sphere, I would do that every game. And I don't know why I charged into Rangers. My math in my head was even bad. For some reason, it seemed like a good idea. It was not. I didn't expect him to hit so many times. But even if he had hit average and wounded average, it was still a terrible thing for me to charge into. I need to remember to just shoot. I need to push against my Warrior Chaos instincts and just friggin' shoot. But this was a really close game, even with all the mistakes, and I'm definitely looking forward to the rematch. I may not have won this one, but I definitely have a good tithe for the great King Bubba Hotep. There were no Glade Lords, or I wasn't able to get the Glade Lord on this one, and obviously there's no dragons, but I did get the Spellweaver, so that brings the total up to 5, almost a half dozen. I'm feeling pretty good about that. I also got that Spell Singer. Yeah, she fled off the table, but I count that. We track her down afterwards and just murder her. So he gets his type, absolutely. And there were no Shattered Answers on the table, so that number stays at 1. In core, there were no scouts, so I've still got 67, which is a hell of a pile. But the Glade Guard, I finally broke 100. 22 of them died. I just missed those last 2, but you know what? They were respectable. And they need to breed so that I can kill more later. But 121 total Glade Guard being sent to the King of Kings for the Tithe of Bones. I'm pretty happy with that. First time I broke 100 so far. And then I got 12 more Glade Riders, which is also good because those sons of bastards just got about little more than half as many Glade Guard, but 64 dead Glade Riders feels pretty right. In special, I got 5 more Scissors of Thorn, bringing my total up to 25. There were no Treekin on the table, but I got 5 more Wild Riders. Thank you, Batras. 41 total Wild Riders died at my hands. No Warhawks on this game, but 9 more Rangers ate it, so bringing my total up to 86. The most dangerous unit that the Wood Elves can field against me, bar none. I would rather see 3 Glade Lords on Forest Dragons than a unit of Wildwood Rangers. Ugh! And of course I got 6 more War Dancers, which is a great thing to kill, bringing my total up to 21. And there was nothing rare on the table, so my numbers stay the same there. And then of course the unworthy Tomb Kings that I've sent to King Bubba Hotep for repurposing. Little bit of a recap on the Bretonnians and High Elves I've killed over my games. I'm pretty happy with those numbers. My numbers in the Chaos Dwarves are still pretty decent as well. Well, my Orcs and Goblins numbers could really go up, but I don't have an Orc and Goblin opponent. If you'd like to fix that, reach out. And of course, the Demons and Warriors of Chaos numbers stay the same as well, because I haven't run into them in a long time. But that's going to do it for this one. Another battle report in the history books. As always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or complaints, feel free to put them in the comment section below, and I will get back to you as quick as I can. But as always, thanks!